Okay, so we will continue our discussion for the overview of our subject, which is the quality management system. So, if you could still remember last time, we were able to discuss the meaning of these key takeaways for the topics that we were trying to discuss about this lesson. And also last time, if you could still remember, I asked you to give your own definition of the subject itself, which is the quality management system. So for this, I will give now the different definitions that I was able to prepare about quality management system. So for this definition, the first definition, as you can see, it means that the key point here is QMS, or the quality management system, is a consolidation of all actions from planning to execution. So ito yung ibig sabihin ng definition na to. So meaning from the time na nagpa-plan ang management up to the time ng execution ng program, which is the quality management system. And for this definition, okay, it has something to do with customer satisfaction. Okay, so it could be how are we going to take care our present customer, as well as how are we going to convince our potential customer. So when we say potential customer, yun yung mga customer na pwede pa nating makuha. Pagka naman sinabing present customer, yun na yung mga regular customer na natin. So paano natin aalagaan yung mga regular customer na natin, as well as paano pa tayo makakakuha ng mga bagong potential customer, simply using the idea of quality management system. And next definition for this, dito, it has something to do with the first definition, but here it is already detailed planning, okay? And the process should be documented. Okay, para din 'di ba, why do we have to document everything? Para na rin sa future use ng organization. Okay? Then this definition, it explains here that QMS should be exercised from input to output. So, the quality management system should be observed not only in in the process of making goods or rendering the services, but as well as uh, the QMS should be observed all throughout the process up to the time that we will be producing already the output. This the output. Okay, so it is not only the input as well as the output. Okay, so simply, we have here the general idea of the total quality management. So if you're going to read it one by one, it same goes with the idea of those things that we mentioned in the previous slides. Okay? So let's have now the history of quality management. Saan kaya nanggaling yung idea ng quality management system? Okay, so we have here set of individuals who contributed in the development of quality management system, wherein the advantage of the different inventions and contributions of these people are the um, are the backbone of the management that we have in our era. Okay, so the first one is Ellie Whitney. So as you can see, sabi dyan, he was an American inventor. Ayan. So he is best remembered as the inventor of the cotton gin. Eto yung picture ng invention niya ng cotton gin. Para saan tong cotton gin na 'to? Um, Ito ay isang machine na mas nagpapadali ng pagtanggal nung cotton doon sa mismong nung cotton seed doon mismo sa cotton. Kasi 'di ba kung nakakita na kayo ng ng cotton na galing sa puno pa, kumbaga raw cotton pa siya, hindi yung cotton na usually na ginagamit na natin sa household natin. Okay, so yung bulak nakadikit yun mismo dun sa kanyang buto. So ang mahirap doon is mahirap tanggalin yung buto doon sa bulak na mismo. So medyo matalas kasi yung buto noon eh. So ang nangyayari, nahihirapan yung mga workers na tanggalin yung buto doon mismo sa cotton. So nagkakasugat-sugat yung mga kamay ng mga workers. So that is why ang kagandahan ng idea ng cotton gin, mas napabilis yung trabaho ng mga workers, plus na napangalagaan pa yung health condition ng mga workers. Okay? So, ano pa yung contribution ni Ellie Whitney in terms of quality management system? So, aside dun sa invention niya ng cotton gin, he is mostly remembered for developing the concept of mass production of interchangeable parts. Okay? So sa kanya nang galing yung idea ng mass production. 'Di ba pag sinabi nating mass production, that is application of principles of specialization, nandiyan din yung division of labor, and standardization of parts to the manufacture of goods. Okay? So ano ang advantage kapag meron tayong mass production? So mas maraming output at low unit cost. Okay? Kasi nga, 'di ba? Maramihan na yung pagpo-produce. Another thing, yung idea ng mass production, mas bumibilis din yung flow ng production kasi nga maramihan na instead of the one piece flow assembly, 'di ba? Pagka mass production, mabilisan kasi marami na eh. So mabilis na yung flow ng production from the start up to the last process. The use of modern methods of mass production has brought improvements in the cost, quality, quantity, and variety of goods that the largest global population in history is how sustained at the highest general standard of living. Kasi nga mas napapabilis na. Okay? So, doon nakilala si Ellie Whitney Jr. And kumbaga, if we will summarize his contribution, unang-una nga yung invention niya ng cotton gin at yung idea ng concept ng mass production, which is up to now ginagamit na mostly ng mga industry na ang kanilang business is more on engaging goods. Okay? Then the next one, we have Frederick Winslow Taylor. So he's known as the father of scientific management. So sabi nga may nabasa ako na article, galing din kay Frederick Winslow Taylor yung idea ng course natin, which is the industrial engineering. Okay? So ano naman yung contribution ni Frederick Winslow Taylor? So while he may not have invented the scientific study of management, kumbaga hindi talaga siya yung nakaimbento ng scientific study of management. But then, he contributed to the use and synthesis of management. Kaya siya din tinawag or kinonsider na father of scientific management. Okay? So, by pioneering the use of, una, time study, okay? Then, division of labor based on function. So, um, pumasok na yung division of labor. So pwedeng halimbawa, 'di ba, yung sa assembly line, hati-hatiin na yung trabaho para mas mabilis yung flow, okay? Then cost control system, written instruction for workers kasi 'di ba iba pa rin kung nababasa kaysa ipinaliwanag lang, 'di ba? Mas maganda pa rin na yung instruction aside sa ipapaliwanag na ng management, bibigyan din ng written copy yung bawat employee or yung bawat worker para every now and then mariremind sila regarding the instruction na kailangan nilang sundin. And of course, the planning, the standardized equipment, ayan, na nagkaroon na tayo ng idea ng standardized equipment because of the uh, uh, scientific concept na pinaliwanag ni Frederick Taylor. Okay? Then use of incentives. Ito yung maganda sa ano niya, isa sa uh, uh, isa sa naging produkto ng Taylorism na tinatawag natin, yung paggamit ng incentives. Okay? So, sa kanya din ang galing yung piecework production. So, kumbaga ano yung piecework production, babayaran lang yung worker depende sa dami ng ng trabaho na nagawa niya. Okay? Actually, may mga gumagawa din naman ito sa ngayon. As far as I know, sa mga tawag dito, sa mga nagpo-produce ng damit, 'di ba? Piece rate yung mga mananahi nila, okay? Kaya lang siyempre merong ano 'yon, merong advantages at saka disadvantages. Una, pag piecework, pag ang advantage niyan, pag piecework, binibilisan ng mga worker yung paggawa para makarami sila kasi nga base sa dami ng nagawa nila yung suswelduhin nila. Pero minsan ano yung nagiging negative connotation nun? Minsan dahil nga, 'di ba, alam niyo 'yun, dahil nga minamadali ng mga worker na makarami sila ng matatapos ng trabaho, minsan nasa-sacrifice na yung quality ng product. Okay? So minsan na-overlook din 'yun ng management. Okay? So kasi ang goal lang naman ng mga empleyado is makarami kasi doon sila babayaran. But then, ang ginagawa din naman ng mga kumpanya dyan, let's say na may defect, okay, pagdating sa quality control department, pag nakita na may defect, okay, it's either ibabalik doon sa worker, siya din yung magre-resolve nung defect. Or pwede din naman na binabawas doon sa sweldohin nila. Okay? So, yun yung kumbaga parang positive and negative connotation ng piecework production. Then also galing din kay Taylor yung differential piecework. Ano naman ito? Ano yung pinagkaiba ni differential piecework kay piecework mismo? So si piecework, depende sa dami nung nagawa mo yung ibabayad sa'yo. Pagka naman differential piecework, kapag halimbawa more than na doon sa quota na binigay sa'yo yung nagawa mo, may additional payment ka. Okay, so halimbawa, ang quota mo lang is 100 pieces in a day. Halimbawa, in let's say 8-hour work schedule. Okay? Tapos let's say maaga pa, wala pang 8 hours, natapos mo na or na-reach mo na yung quota mo. Hindi naman pwedeng titigil ka na, di ba? Kasi malaking tulong din naman sa company kung continuous yung production. So, ang mangyayari doon, yung extrang number uh, of loads na nagawa mo, additional payment yun sa'yo. So, yun yung maganda. Okay? Then, we also have the sales commission. Sa kanya rin ang galing to. Pag sales commission naman, yung commonly sa mga ano to, yung mga commission-based na trabaho. Okay? Kung ano lang yung maibebenta, doon lang yung magiging commission mo. So maganda 'yan kasi 'di ba, lalo na kung medyo magaling kang magbenta, let's say in a day or in a certain period is nare-reach mo yung quota mo, walang problema diyan, 'di ba? Maganda rin ang swelduhan diyan. But then ang problema diyan sa sales commission kapag walang bumili, 'di ba? Pag walang bumili, wala ka ring definitely wala ka ring suswelduhin. Okay? Kaya 'di ba yung mga nag-aalok ng mga insurance, nag-aalok ng mga condo unit, nag-aalok ng mga kung ano-anong plan, okay? Bakit gano'n na lang sila kapursige na makakuha ng customer? Kasi kung walang mabebenta, wala din silang suswelduhin. So, yun yung sinasabi natin na sales commission. So, again ha, ang greatest contribution ni Frederick Winslow Taylor is yung the use of time study. Okay? Kaya siya kinonsider na father of scientific management. Okay? Next, we have Henry Ford. So, si Henry Ford, sa kanya siya yung founder ng Ford Motor Company. Okay? So, he invented the Model T car. Ito yung sample picture nung uh, Model T car na inimbento ni sorry for that, na inimbento ni Henry Ford. Ito. Ayan, okay? So I introduced uh, the moving assembly line method. Okay, sa kanya nang galing yung idea ng moving assembly line. Also, he is the pioneer of mass production. Aside dun sa uh, inventor of moving assembly line, sa kanya din nanggaling yung idea ng mass production. Okay? So kumbaga, 'di ba nabanggit na natin kanina na galing kay Okay. So, he just continued the idea of the mass production. Okay? So, doon sa invention ng moving assembly line, paano ba yun ginagawa ng isang kumpanya? So, manufacturing system for high volume production, that is the moving assembly line. The idea of this is to subdivide the assembly operation into a number of smaller tasks that are assigned to workers placed sequentially in a fixed order. Okay? And the product is moved from one worker to another by conveyor. Okay? So, again ulitin ko ha. So, he pioneered the idea of mass production. Kay Henry Ford nang galing yung idea ng mass production. And aside from that, he is also the inventor of moving assembly line. So ano yung idea ng moving assembly line? Ang ginawa niya, yung whole operation, sinubdivide niya into several division. Okay, hinati-hati niya ng mas maliliit yung task or mas mapadali yung bawat part ng task or bawat part ng pagpo-produce, okay? Then bawat subdivision mayroong naka-assign na worker. But then yung mga workers na yon, they have to work in sequence, in order para hindi pa rin masira yung flow ng production. Then another advantage um, nung moving assembly line na idea ni Henry Ford, hindi na kailangang umalis ni workers sa kanyang place kasi pwede nang i-transfer yung part na natapos niya through a conveyor. Okay? So mabilis na yung flow ng production, okay? So ano pa yung kagandahan ng pagkakaimbento niya nung moving assembly line method? He was able to increase the wages of his employee. Okay? Another thing, he was able to have a 24-hour operation doon sa Ford Motor Company niya. Ang kagandahan doon is nakapagdagdag siya ng mga workers, so therefore parang additional employment yon sa lugar nila. At dahil doon, nakapag-create siya ng shifting schedule. Okay, so sa kanya nanggaling yung idea ng shifting schedule. 24-hour operation through shifting schedule. So dyan nanggaling yung idea ng 6 to 2 na papasok, yung schedule na 2 to 10, tsaka 10 to 6. As you can see, doon sa idea ng 6 to 2, 2 to 10, 10 to 6, walang putol, continuous pa rin. Pero iba na yung set ng workers na papasok sa bawat schedule. So ang kagandahan doon, hindi masyadong pagod si worker. 'Di ba? Example, ako 'yun. So papasok lang ako 6 to 2. So pagdating ng 2 PM, pwede na akong umuwi, pwede na ako makapagpahinga. Or let's say papasok ako ng 2 to 10. 'Di ba? So alas 2 pa ng hapon ang pasok ko. Ang kagandahan doon, bakante pa ako ng umaga, 'di ba? Makakagawa pa ako ng iba pang gawain bago ako pumasok. Then, ang kagandahan naman ng 10 to 6 nowadays I don't know way back nung panahon ni Henry Ford, okay? May bayad na pagpanggabi ka. Meron na tayong tinatawag na night differential. Kaya yung iba gustong-gusto nagpapanggabi kasi may additional pay. Okay? So again ha, ulitin natin ano yung great contribution ni Henry Ford about QMS. Siya yung nag-pioneer ng mass production as well as siya yung nakaimbento ng moving assembly line. Okay? Then next, we have Walter A. Shewhart. Okay? So, he is the pioneer of quality control. Kasi sa kanya nang galing ang idea ng quality control. So ito yung kanyang mga contribution. So he gave the idea of the Six Sigma. Later we will discuss this one. We have a separate topic about Six Sigma. Then he also contribute the statistical process control. Later on, again, we will have a separate discussion for that. And he is also known for the Shewhart cycle. So itong Shewhart cycle, this is also known as PDSA cycle and the PDCA cycle. So ano to? Yung PDSA cycle, that is plan, do, study, act. Okay? So, it is a four-stage problem-solving model used for improving a process or carrying out change. Then, si PDCA naman, it stands for Plan, Do, Check, and Act. Okay? Para naman saan to? For implementing continuous improvement. Okay? So, kung i-analyze natin, yung PDSA at saka yung PDCA, it has something to do with improvement or continuous implementation for improvement. Okay? Then ito, yung reducing variation to improve quality. Ano ba ang nilalaman nito? So eto siya. So the reducing variation, which is one of the idea of Walter Schwartz, okay? So it has different objectives. Okay? So i-ano na lang natin ha, i-explain na lang ni Ma'am one by one. So when we say variation, parang sa Tagalog that is pagkakaiba-iba, 'di ba? Parang hindi consistent, parang ganon. So variation is inherent in any process. Since that variation is inherent, it can be good or bad. Yun ang ano sa kanya, okay? It can be good or bad. But can be controlled and reduced through careful analysis and improvement efforts. Kasi 'di ba as much possible ang iiwasan ng organization is yung violation ng goods or ng services na ino-offer nila. Okay? So, pwede naman siyang maiwasan, pwede siyang makontrol, pero kailangan ng matinding analyzation at improvement. Okay? So, dapat merong improvement plan. Then, variation can be a sign of innovation and creativity. Kaya sabi ko sa inyo kanina, variation is inherent, it can be good or bad, di ba? So, ano yung good side niya? It can be a sign of innovation and creativity. Okay? Then, ano yung bad side? Bad side niya. Variation can be a source of inconsistency. Kasi nga variation di ba? And quality issues. Wherein, kapag nangyari to, pwedeng mag-lead sa lost revenue, malulugi, then decrease customer satisfaction, mawawalan tayo or mababawasan tayo ng loyal customer at hindi na tayo makakakuha ng bagong customer. And pag nangyari yon, it can be a damage to reputation ng isang organization. So common causes is the result of natural variation in a process. Kasi 'di ba mapapansin nyo dito, sabi ni Schwartz rather, we have two classes of variation. We have the special causes or the special cause and the common cause. Si special cause, it is also known as assignable cause. Si common cause, it is also known as chain cause. So anong pinagkaiba nilang dalawa? Pag common cause, that is result of natural variation in a process. So when we say natural variation, yun yung hindi natin somehow maiiwasan every now and then kasi nangyayari yon throughout the process of the goods or throughout the implementation of the service na ino-offer ng isang kumpanya. Pero yung special cost naman natin, okay, caused by specific factors, ang maganda dito, si special cause, pwede siyang ma-identify at pwede siyang ma-address. Hindi katulad ni common cause, minsan nangyayari talaga siya because of the process, pinagdadaanan sa proseso. Kaya kumbaga class, yung common cause, parang minsan hindi natin naiiwasan na klase ng violation. Pero si special cause, ayan, since special nga siya, 'di ba? Kaya siya tinatawag na special. Pwede siyang ma-identify, pwedeng malaman yung root at pwedeng ma-address. Okay? So, the next one is W. Edward Deming. Okay? So, ano naman yung contribution ni Edward Deming about the TQM? He is the father of TQM movement. Okay? So, siya talaga yung father. Siya yung, kumbaga, pinakaugat ng total quality management. Okay? The concept of total quality management is based on assertion that continuous improvement leads to a rise in product quality and corresponding decline in cost. That's why meron tayong tinatawag na Deming's 14 points wherein kung i-discuss natin to later on yung Deming's 14 points wherein ang totality nung Deming's 14 points na to, he uses statistical analysis and can be used to achieve better quality control. So yun yung pinaka ano niya, pinaka idea nung Deming's 14 points niya. Deming's 14 points of total quality management movement. Okay? Siya din yung nagsabi na kung kaya ng Japan na gawin yung TQM, well then kayang gawin sa buong mundo. Okay? So pag-usapan natin, total binanggit na ni Deming yung role ng Japan in implementing TQM. Ito, so way back 1950s and 1960s, nag-adapt na ang Japan about quality management. Okay? Bakit nila inadapt ang quality management program? Para maalis sa isipan ng mga tao yung notation na kapag gawang Japan, okay, similar siya or parang cheap, parang hindi maganda, parang ganon. So that is why, eto yung naging targeted area ng TQM sa Japan. So, generally, meron silang four targeted areas. So, we have the improvements in the workplace, management, product quality improvement, at saka yung supply, production, and selling change. Okay? So, dito sa improvement in the workplace, nandito yung cost reduction, safety, productivity improvement. Then sa management naman, education and training, magpo-provide ng education and training for the workers and for the staff, organizational systems development, cross-functional management, policy deployment, at saka quality deployment. Then sa product quality improvement, they have to assure quality, kaya merong quality assurance, and new product development. Okay, that is for the new product. Yung halimbawa na makakaisip yung isang kumpanya ng bagong product na pwede nilang i-produce in line dun sa product na presently ay pinoproduce na nila. Okay? Halimbawa, kung ang business nila ay shampoo, o why not mag-venture naman sila sa conditioner since ang conditioner ay partner ng shampoo. Okay? Then, supply, production, selling chain, supply management, meeting production quotas, meeting delivery schedules, sorry, kumukulog yata. Marketing, sales, and services. So as you can see, ito yung um, yung pinaka-importanting area na tinarget ng Japan in implementing the TQM. Kaya 'di ba sabi nga ni Edward Deming, kung kaya ng Japan, kaya din natin, 'di ba? Okay, so what are the benefits of quality management system? Of course, organizations somehow wanted to implement quality management systems kasi alam nila makikinabang sila dyan. Okay? So, implementing a quality management system affects every aspect of an organization's performance. Benefits of a documented quality management system include, una, we have the meeting the customer's requirements, and then the second one, meeting the organization's requirements. So as you can see, dito sa dalawang area natin, nandyan na mismo si organization at si customer. Okay? Remember, ang objective ng organization is to meet customers' expectations or to meet customers' satisfaction. Diba? So that is why it is not only the customer requirements ang tinatarget ng QMS but as well as yung requirements ng organization as a whole. So example nito ha, we have the ISO 9001 of 2015. This is the most recognized and implemented quality standard in the world. Kaya 'di ba lahat halos or hindi man lahat, pero yung mga malalaking kumpanya, ang target talaga nila is magpa ISO certified. Kasi 'di ba nabanggit natin to sa discussion natin last week na pag ISO certified ang isang company or ang isang organization, pwedeng maging trusted yung company. Kasi 'di ba, ibig sabihin pag nakapasa sila sa ISO, yung quality ng product na or service na nire-render nila is sure tayo na maganda. Okay? Then, it specifies the requirements for a QMS that organization can use to develop their own programs. Then aside dun sa ISO 9001-2015, meron tayong tinatawag na ISO 14000 series. So ano naman ang concern ng ISO 14000? Environmental Management System. Okay? So aside kay ISO 14000, we also have ISO 13485, quality management standard for medical services naman yon. Then yung ISO 19011, that is QMS for auditing management system. Then meron pa tayong isa, yung IATF. I'm sure narinig nyo na yan. Para naman to saan? This is for quality management system for automotive related product. Okay? So depende kung anong klasing kung anong klase ng venture meron ng isang kumpanya doon sa ISO na a-applyan nila. So kung it is something to do with environmental management system, they will apply for ISO 14,000. Okay? If there's something to do with medical services, they will apply for ISO 13485. Then if it is something to do with auditing management system, ISO 19011. And for the automotive, they can apply for the IATF. Okay, so those are some example of management system. Okay, then these benefits offer additional advantages, including ito, defining, improving, and controlling processes. Kaya hindi din ganun kadali makapasa or makalusot sa ISO certification. Okay? Kasi kailangan din talaga na makapag-present sila ng mga documents. Yung kailangan din talaga na ma-prove nila na quality assured yung product o yung service na nire-render nila. Okay? So, reducing waste, preventing mistakes, lowering cost, facilitating and identifying training opportunities, that is for the employees and for the staff, engaging staff, setting organization-wide direction, and communicating a readiness to produce consistent results. So dito sa number 8, dyan papasok yung sinasabi natin kanina about viration, 'di ba? Dapat yung product or yung goods na pinoproduce natin may consistency. Okay, yung service na ni-render natin dapat may consistency. Okay, so elements and requirements of a QMS. So what are the requirements ba para makapag-implement tayo ng quality management system? Okay? So each element of QMS helps achieve the overall goals of meeting the customers and organization's requirements. Again, nauulitin ni Ma'am, we are or an organization, we're trying to implement QMS not only for customers requirements but also for the organization's requirements. Okay? So here are the different elements of QMS. Una, the organization's quality policy and quality objective. So example nito class, eto, yung nasa right side natin. Ay, sorry. Ayan, eto, yan, quality policy. So, kailangan clear yung policy na gustong i-implement ng organization regarding the quality of the product or the services na ibibigay nila sa mga consumers. Okay? Then also, they should have quality manual. They should be clear statement of procedures, instructions and records, data management, 'di ba? Nowadays ay dapat naman talaga ay may data management na. Then we have the internal processes, customer satisfaction from product quality. Paano ba nalalaman ng isang organization or ng isang company na nasa-satisfy ang customer sa products or sa goods na nire-render nila? Puwedeng customer survey, 'di ba, nagpapa-survey sila or puwedeng nagko-conduct sila mismo ng interview sa mga customer, puwede 'yon. Okay, then improve opportunities and of course quality analysis. Okay? Next, we have now the quality management principles. So generally, we have 2, 4, 6, 7. We have 7 QMS principles. So dito class, itong bawat isang principles natin, meron tong reverse principle. So, ibig sabihin, pag hindi na-meet yung principle na to, pwedeng may negative effect. Okay? So, iisa-isahin natin yan. Okay? So, we have the customer focus. So, sabi dito, there is only one boss. Sino daw yon? Yung customer. Si customer pwede niyang ipatanggal sa trabaho lahat ng nasa kumpanya. 'Di ba? Kahit yung pinaka-chairman ng kumpanya ay pwede niyang ipatanggal. 'Di ba? Through what? Paano mangyayari yun, ma'am? Kapag nag-express siya ng kanyang unsatisfactory uh, idea, 'di ba? Or unsatisfactory statement about doon sa product or doon sa service na binigay ng isang kumpanya. Okay? So, to satisfy the customer and build loyalty, 'di ba? 'Yun ang pinaka main objective ng principle na 'to. To satisfy the customer and to build loyalty para magkaroon tayo ng suki, 'di ba? Kaya 'di ba sa palengke, pag may suki ka na, 'di ba? Yung mga nagtitinda doon, tawag sa'yo suki kahit first time ka palang bumili. 'Di ba? Strategy nila yon, baka sakali sa susunod na pamamalengke mo, sa kanila ka ulit bumili. 'Di ba? It can give excellent reputation. Yun ang maganda doon. Pagka na-satisfied yung customer ninyo, magbibigay yun ng ah, kumbaga ay 5 star, 'di ba? Sa mga halimbawa sa mga survey, 5 star, ganyan, 'di ba? So it can give excellent reputation. Now, 'di ba nowadays class, madali nang mag-comment ang customer, positive man 'yan or negative. Through what? Through social media. 'Di ba yung mga pineplex na mga produkto ngayon? 'Di ba may mga reviewer pa nga eh, may mga 'di ba may mga vlogger na nagre-review ng mga product, 'di ba? So, isang paraan na 'yan para malaman ng isang organization kung nare-reach ba nila yung pinaka main objective nila, which is the customer satisfaction. Kaya lang 'di ba, ganun din yun sa pagbibigay ng negative feedback. Madali na rin ngayon, 'di ba? Madali nang siraan ang isang kumpanya sa social media. Okay? Ngayon, ano yung reverse process ng customer focus? 'Di ba sabi ko nga sa inyo, pag hindi na meet itong 7 principles, pwede itong magkaroon ng reverse principle. Okay? Yung customer focus, ang reverse principle nito is customer exploitation. Yun yung hindi dapat mangyari. Okay? Ano ba yung customer exploitation? Ang problema kasi sa customer exploitation, parang binibigyan ng less choices or no choice at all ang mga customer. Halimbawa, sa isang lugar, siya lang yung nagtitinda, let's say, ah, ng bigas. Halimbawa ganun ha, sa isang market, siya lang yung nagtitinda ng bigas. Eh we all know na ang bigas ay isa yan sa prime commodities natin, 'di ba? Nating mga Pilipino. So kumbaga dahil isa lang yung nagbebenta, walang choice yung mga customer kundi bumili sa kanya. 'Di ba? So, ano mangyayari do'n, na exploit yung mga customer. Parang ang gagawin nung nag-iisang tindahan na yun ng bigas, magpepresyo siya ng mahal. Kumbaga parang take it or leave it, ito ang presyo niyan kasi wala naman kayong ibang mabibilhan. Okay? So, yun yung example ng customer exploitation. Yun yung reverse principle ng customer customer focus. Okay? Let's have now the second principle, which is the leadership. Okay? There should be responsible leader. 'Di ba? Dapat may isang magaling na leader sa isang kahit na anong organization. Okay? So management are expected to ano-ano ba yung trabaho ng isang leader? Define organization's objective. It should be clear, 'di ba? In defining the organization's objectives, it should be clear and easily understood. Okay? Next one, ensure the availability of resources to achieve the objectives. Okay? Remember, laging may target date ang isang kumpanya. And isa yon sa objective, 'di ba, ng isang kumpanya, eh kailangan masiguro din ng mga workers na may pagkukunan para 'di ba? Para ma-achieve din yung objective ng company. And dapat involve ang staff. 'Di ba? Yun yung magaling na leader. Ini-involve niya from top to bottom lahat ng member ng organization. Okay? Now, ano yung reverse principle ng leadership? Siyempre, yung irresponsible leader. 'Di ba? Alam naman natin yan kahit in a common organization, a simple organization, kapag walang kwenta yung leader, wala talaga mangyayari dun sa organization. Okay? Next, let's have now the engagement of people. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Staff needed to be qualified and feel valued. Okay? Then, it's about looking at the individual beyond the worker. Dapat kung gusto talaga natin na magawa, okay? Gusto talaga natin magawa or gusto nating ma-attain yung principles ng QMS, dapat, 'di ba? Ini-engage natin, sinasama natin yung lahat ng member ng organization. Okay? So, wag natin silang titignan as trabahador ka lang. Wala kang kinalaman sa decision making. O sige, trabahador siya, pero 'di ba, lahat ng desisyon makakaapekto din naman sa kanya. 'Di ba? Lahat ng desisyon ng management makakaapekto 'yon from top to bottom na members ng organization. Okay? So dapat sinasama, 'di ba? Sinasama lahat ng involved sa organization. So ano naman ang reverse principle ng engagement of people? Uncommitted staff. 'Di ba? Pag uncommitted na ang staff ng isang organization, wala na 'yan. 'Di ba? Magiging questionable na yung loyalty niyan, magiging questionable na yung productivity niya, 'di ba? Kasi nga hindi na siya committed. Hindi niya na kino-commit yung sarili niya doon sa organization. Then the next one is the process approach. At ano naman ito? Activity, when we say random approach, process approach, activity of organisms as a set of correlated sub-activities. So ano ibig sabihin nun? Yung when we say correlated, that is pagkakaugnay-ugnay, 'di ba? So meaning pag dumaan ng process, pwede kasing sabihin natin na hahati-hatiin natin into subdivision yung pag-produce ng goods. Okay? Pero kahit nahati-hatiin natin, dapat meron pa ring proseso na sinusundan. So each process use input data and produces output data. Siyempre, pag merong in-input, dapat merong output, which can flow from one process to another. So, kumbaga, station 1, nasa iyo ang input. Then, paglabas nun sa'yo, mapupunta sa station 2. Kay station 2, input siya. Pero kay station 1, output siya. Okay? So, yun yung tinatawag natin na process approach. So, ano naman ang reverse principle ng process approach? Random approach. Okay? Pag random approach, kumbaga parang walang proper flow. 'Di ba? Kumbaga parang bahala na kung kanino na yung susunod na proseso. Okay, pangit, 'di ba? Kailangan mas maganda pa rin talaga kung nandun tayo sa process approach. Step by step, kaya sa process approach. Next, we have the improvement. Ayan, okay? So, improvement applies to principle already stated. Ini-improve na lang natin. 'Di ba? Improving customer satisfaction as well as improving process performance. So, pwede nating isama sa improvement yung paano natin may improve pa para ma-meet natin yung customer satisfaction as well as yung ma-improve yung process mismo, yung process performance mismo. Okay? So example nito class, yung nabanggit ko sa inyo kanina na ISO 9001, 2015, okay? Reducing risk, seizing opportunities, or correcting non-conformities are all source of improvement. Ayan. Kaya din nagpapa-certified ISO yung mga company, di ba? Para din malaman nila kung ano yung pwede pa nilang i-improve. Ayan, okay? Then, ano naman yung reverse principle na improvement? Regression. 'Di ba? Hindi pag-unlad. 'Di ba? Imbes na forward, backward. Okay? Next, evidence-based decision making. So ano naman 'to? Decision based on a uh, decision based na nanggaling, okay, in data na meron ng isang kumpanya na pwede nilang pagkunan ng idea about the cause and effect. 'Di ba? Kung may data kasi makikita bakit saan nagkamali, something like that. So, through data makikita ano yung pagkakamali, saan nagkamali, 'di ba? So, therefore, pag nakita na yung pagkakamali, pwede nang makapagdesisyon na agad paano itatama yung pagkakamali. Okay? So, a very Cartesian approach. So, when we say very Cartesian approach, yung dahil nga may data tayo, pwede nating maiplot, 'di ba? Visible, 'di ba? Madaling pag-aralan. 'Yun yung sinasabi natin na very Cartesian approach. It can be appealing, 'di ba? Kasi nga madaling makita, 'di ba? Pero mahirap, medyo matrabaho. Medyo matrabahong gawin. Lalo na kung ang pag-aaralan ay previous data. Kasi 'di ba, kung halimbawa you have already 10 years data. So lahat mula year 1 hanggang year 10 pag-aaralan lahat 'yon. Kaya medyo matrabaho. Pero ang maganda sa kanya, madali siyang pag-aralan. Madaling makita agad kung saan yung pinagmulan ng mali. That's why agad-agad pwede mai-correct. Yun nga lang matrabaho, okay? It will takes time kasi nga maraming pagbabasihan na data na pinagdaanan na nung organization. Then, relationship management. Oh, by the way, ano yung reverse principle ng evidence-based decision making? Decision based on a coin toss. 'Di ba? Yung parang nag ano lang, parang nagkarakrus lang about decision. 'Di ba? 'Yun ang hindi maganda. Okay? Next, relationship management. Okay? So, sabi dito class, it is by communicating with the interested parties and taking their requirements into account that the organization will be able to improve its performance. So the stakeholders are influenced by the activities of the organization. So sino ba yung stakeholders na tinatawag natin? We have the suppliers, di ba? Let's say we have banks, yung mga bangko, okay? Then, yung mga regulator. Sino ba yung mga regulator, ma'am? Yung mga yung mga tao ng ISO. Yun, sila yung tinatawag natin na regulator. Okay? So, pwedeng maka-affect yung relationship management doon sa mga stakeholders ng isang kumpanya. Okay? Next. So, let's move now in establishing and implementing a QMS. So, paano ba mag-i-implement ng QMS ang isang organization? Una, ayan, we have different steps to follow. Una, design and build. Okay, so designing and building the structure of QMS for implementation. Yan ang unang-una ha. Siyempre, magdi-design ka muna. Okay? Bakit kailangan mag-design bago mag-implement ng QMS? To ensure the needs of the organization as well as the needs of the customer. Okay? Ano ba talaga ang gustong mangyari ng isang kumpanya? Ano ba talaga ang gustong mangyari ng isang organization? At syempre, kailangan ma-meet natin yung pangangailangan ng customers. Okay, so that is design and build. Then if you already designed and built the QMS program, you're now ready to deploy. Okay? Ano yung sinasabi nating deploy? Putting the right people at the right place or designation. And also aside from that, yung pipili tayo ng tao ng tamang tao sa tamang posisyon. Okay, dapat properly deployed ang mga tao ng buong organization. Okay, halimbawa, kung may alam sa accounting, di ilagay mo siya sa accounting department, 'di ba? Kung medyo maalam sa business, sa pera, sa business and finance, lagay mo siya sa finance department. 'Di ba? Yung mga ganon, okay? So, giving proper information. Okay, another thing, providing seminars and trainings for the staff. Why do we have to provide seminars and trainings? Kasi through that, na-educate natin sila. 'Di ba? Remember, it is also one responsibility of the organization is to educate the organization as a whole. 'Di ba? Yung lahat ng tao sa organization. Paano nila ma-educate yung mga tao sa organization? By providing seminars and trainings. Okay? Then sabi diyan, merong binabanggit diyan, company intranets, 'di ba, are increasingly being used to assist in the deployment of QMS. Ano ba yung intranet na sinasabi natin? Una, that is a private network. Private network ha. So kumbaga lahat ng sikreto ng isang kumpanya ay nandyan. Okay? Contained within an organization that is used to securely share companies information and computing resources among employees. Kaya nga intranet. Ibig sabihin, sa company lang yon. Hindi katulad ng internet na tinatawag na ginagamit natin ngayon. Pag intra, within lang yon, within the organization. So it encourages communication within an organization, and but of course, 'di ba, since it involves companies information, there should be a maintenance of intranet security. 'Di ba? Wag din namang kasi sabi nga natin nandiyan yung sikreto ng kumpanya. So dapat kung sa kumpanya lang. 'Di ba? Hindi na dapat makarating pa sa ibang kumpanya. Then we have the control and measure. So ano ba tong control and measure, which is the third step? So dito class can be accomplished through routinary activity. Okay, pwedeng mangyari ito or pwedeng masukat ito uh, by determining the everyday activities of the organization. Okay? Everyday flow of the production. Systematic audit of the QMS can be by using statistical quality control. Okay? So paano ba yung ano ba yung paraan para magkaroon ng controlling and measurement of QMS? Pwedeng gumamit ang kumpanya ng mga database system ng quality controlling. Katulad nga yung sinasabi natin, yung statistical quality control. So, pwedeng mag-engage yung organization to. Then, ito yung simple method kung paano natin gagawin yung controlling and measuring. Una, organization should set a standard kung saan doon natin i-measure yung performance. 'Di ba? Magse-set ng standard, then doon sa standard, yun yung dapat na sundin ng mga workers or ng staff para ma-measure yung performance. Tapos pag syempre kapag mayroon ng standard, i-measure na yung performance ng bawat isa, lahat ng bumubuo sa organization. Then pwedeng i-compare yung actual performance with the standard. Then pwede na tayo mag-identify ng any deviations or ano yung mga naging naobserbahan nating problema. Then determine the reasons for the deviations. Bakit? Ano yung naging sanhi ng problema na yon? Then dahil na-identify na natin, pwede na tayo mag-take ng corrective action if needed. Okay? Pero, di ba, dahil nga nakakita na tayo ng mali, dapat na talaga itama. Di ba? Para hindi na maka-apekto dun sa everyday transactions ng organization. And we have review and improve. So ano to? Main goals are to determine how effective and efficient each process was in attaining the goal and the objective of the organization. Diba? So remember, nagre-review tayo kasi there's already an existing policy. There's already an existing program. Nire-review lang natin kung nagja-jive ba yung program sa objective ng organization. Kung hindi, pwedeng i-improve. Okay? But you have to do reviewing first bago ka conduct ng improvement plan. Okay? So, eto class, I have an example kung paano natin gagamitin yung huling principle, which is the review and improve. Okay? So, It could be, since this is a cycle, pwede kang mag-start anywhere. So, halimbawa, nag-start ako sa revise. Okay? Pag sinabi nating revise, adjust as needed to improve. Okay, so let's say nag-revise na ako, nag-adjust na. Yung ni-revise ko, pwede kong i-review. 'Di ba? Baka meron pang mas magandang opportunity for improvement. Then kapag na-review ko na, ayan, pwede na akong mag-reflect. Paano ako magre-reflect? Think carefully about potential changes. So again ha, since this is a cycle, pwede kang magsimula anywhere. So halimbawa, pwede kang magsimula sa reflect. Magre-reflect ka muna, 'di ba? Mag-iisip ka muna ng mga possible or potential changes na pwedeng mangyari. Then if this already done, pwede ka nang umuwi or pumunta sa revision. Then if you have already the revision, you may review your revision. Okay? Or pwede ka magsimula sa review. 'Di ba? Pag-aralan mo yung mga area kung saan magkakaroon ng opportunities to improve. Then kapag na-review mo na, ayan, pwede ka nang mag-reflect. Ayan, mag-iisip ka na ng mga potential changes. Tsaka ka ngayon mag-revise. So this is what we call the improvement cycle of process and product. Okay? Then, bago tayo mag-end, I just want to end my presentation in this quotation. So, improve quality, you automatically improve productivity. 'Di ba? So, if a certain organization somehow always targeted a quality goods and quality service na ibibigay sa tao, automatically they show the improvement in their productivity. So improve quality, you automatically improve productivity. Okay? So that's end my presentation. Thank you so much, IE, for listening.